Imagine stepping into a place where fear hangs in the air, violence erupts without warning, and your life could change in an instant. It's 2 a.m. on Rikers Island, the largest jail in the United States. A fight breaks out in a crowded cell block. Screams pierce the night. A young inmate, barely 19, is attacked. Blood splatters the walls. Guards rush in, but the chaos doesn't stop. This is Rikers Island, a place called home by thousands, feared by all. Tonight, we take you inside America's most notorious jail. But what drives a prison to this edge of madness? And who survives when the walls are closing in? Rikers Island sits in the East River, between Queens and the Bronx. Built in 1932, it was supposed to be a model jail. Today, it houses more than 7,000 inmates, many waiting for trial, many innocent until proven guilty. But overcrowding, understaffing, and a culture of violence have made it one of the most feared jails in the world. Meet Jamal. He's 19, arrested for petty theft. His first glimpse of Rikers? Concrete docks, razor wire fences, and the smell of fear and despair that hits before you even step inside. The intake process is cold and systematic. Inmates are classified and sent to units. But mistakes happen. Jamal, young and small, ends up in a unit with hardened criminals, a dangerous environment for anyone unprepared. Every movement here is calculated. A misstep could lead to a fight, a robbery, or worse. Jamal quickly learns the first rule of survival: don't trust anyone completely. As Jamal settles in, the tension builds. He watches fights break out over trivial things: a stolen meal, a careless glance. And in this place, the smallest spark can ignite a wildfire. For Jamal, the first night is just a taste of the reality inside Rikers. But what he doesn't know yet is that survival isn't just about avoiding fights. It's about navigating a system designed to break you. Jamal's first night inside Rikers feels endless. The lights never fully go out, and the sounds of the jail, shouting, banging doors, footsteps running, echo through the halls like a warning. Every movement he makes is watched. Every glance could start a fight. It doesn't take long before trouble finds him. A disagreement over a bunk escalates quickly. One inmate shoves another. Chairs fly. A fight breaks out. Jamal tries to stay out of it, but in the chaos, someone punches him in the side. Pain shoots through his ribs. Jamal is dragged into a corner as guards arrive. He watches a fellow inmate get slammed to the floor, blood dripping down his face. Fear claws at him. He realizes something everyone inside Rikers knows. You don't just survive by following the rules. You survive by understanding the unspoken ones: who's dangerous, who's loyal, and who's willing to use violence to stay alive. By morning, Jamal is bruised, exhausted, and shaken. The intake staff calls it just another night, but for him, it's a wake-up call. This place doesn't just punish people, it breaks them. Over the next few days, Jamal begins to learn the rhythms of the jail. He sees fights over food, over respect, over nothing at all. He hears whispers of corruption among guards, of inmates smuggling contraband, of some units where the most dangerous criminals roam unchecked. And then he sees it, the most feared place in Rikers: solitary confinement. Inmates who end up there often disappear from the world for weeks. Some never come back the same. Jamal realizes quickly, one wrong move, and he could end up there. By the end of his first week, Jamal understands that life inside Rikers isn't measured in days or months. It's measured in survival. And every day brings a new threat, a new fight, a new test of his strength and will. But just when he thinks he's getting the hang of it, something happens that shakes him more than any fight ever could. A rumor spreads through the block. A high-profile inmate has escaped the unit, triggering panic and suspicion. Guards tighten security, tensions explode, and the smallest spark could set off another nightmare. Jamal watches the chaos unfold, heart pounding. He knows now that survival on Rikers Island is about more than avoiding violence. It's about navigating a system that is unpredictable, brutal, and unforgiving. And just as he thinks he's seen it all, something happens that will change everything for him. A moment that will test not just his courage, but his very sanity. The rumor spreads fast. A high-profile inmate has escaped his unit, and the entire block feels like it's about to explode. Jamal can feel the tension in the air. Every shout, every slam of a door, every hurried step down the hall could trigger the next fight. Jamal stays low, trying to avoid attention. But in Rikers, hiding doesn't always mean safety. A group of older inmates approaches him, sizing him up. They're hardened, scarred, and they don't miss a weakness. "You knew?" One of them asks, his voice low and dangerous. Jamal nods, unsure what to say. "You stay with us, you survive. You disappear," another mutters. It's the first time Jamal realizes that alliances are as important as strength. Inside Rikers, it isn't just brute force. It's strategy, relationships, and knowing who has your back. That night, chaos erupts. The high-profile inmate is back in the block, not for long, but enough to trigger a massive brawl. Jamal watches as fists fly, chairs crash, and guards struggle to regain control. Screams fill the air, echoing through the concrete walls. Jamal's new group protects him, dragging him out of harm's way. But the violence leaves a mark. Blood, fear, and desperation saturate everything. Jamal realizes he's no longer just an observer. He's part of the system now, caught between survival and danger. By dawn, the block is quiet again, but the tension hasn't disappeared. Jamal's body aches, his mind races, and he knows this was only the beginning. And then he hears the whispers. A plan is forming, something bigger than the usual fights. The older inmates are plotting something, and Jamal is right in the middle of it. One wrong move, and he could end up in solitary, or worse. Rikers Island has already shown him that survival is fragile, that every day is a gamble. But now, Jamal is about to face a choice that will test everything he's learned. Trust the dangerous inmates around him, or risk standing alone in a world where everyone wants to see you fail. The question is, will he make it through this night alive? Or will Rikers finally claim another victim? The morning after the massive brawl, the block feels eerily quiet. But Jamal knows better. Silence in Rikers doesn't mean peace. It means something is brewing. The older inmates he's allied with gather him quietly in a corner. "Listen," one whispers, eyes darting around the block. "Tonight, we make a move. But if you mess up, you're done." Jamal's heart pounds. He doesn't fully understand the plan, but he knows it's risky, the kind of risk that could get him stabbed, thrown into solitary, or worse. He has to decide, follow them or stay out of it. As night falls, tension coils like a snake through the hallways. Guards patrol the corridors, but they're stretched thin. Inmates move like shadows, carrying out whispered orders, glances exchanged in the dim lights. Every sound seems amplified, a door slamming, a cough, a footstep. Suddenly, the plan erupts into chaos. A fight breaks out in another unit, pulling guards and inmates in all directions. Jamal is in the middle, swept up by his allies. He dodges a swinging chair, feels a punch graze his shoulder, and realizes just how fragile his survival is. Amid the chaos, Jamal faces a choice: take a shortcut to safety, leaving the group, or help them, risking his life. His instincts scream at him to run, but he sees a younger inmate cornered by a rival gang. Jamal acts without thinking, pulling him out of the danger zone. The move saves the boy but exposes Jamal to the attention of the rival gang. A dangerous stare locks on him, and for a moment, he knows he's the next target. The adrenaline surges, his pulse racing as he realizes just how thin the line between life and death is inside Rikers. By the time guards regain control, Jamal is battered, bruised, and mentally exhausted. He survived the night, but only barely. And in Rikers, surviving once doesn't mean you're safe tomorrow. The older inmates glance at him with a mix of respect and warning. He's proven himself, but now he's deeper into the world of the jail than ever. Every decision he makes will ripple through the block, and one misstep could cost him everything. And just when he starts to catch his breath, a new threat arrives, something far more dangerous than the fights or the gangs. Someone from the outside has entered the system, and their presence will shake Rikers to its core. Jamal doesn't know it yet, but the real nightmare is only beginning. The next morning, a rumor spreads fast through the block. A new inmate has arrived, someone with a reputation that precedes them. Word is, this isn't just any prisoner. This one is connected to powerful gangs outside Rikers, and everyone knows trouble follows in their wake. Jamal feels a cold knot form in his stomach. He's already survived fights, betrayals, and chaos inside the jail. But this feels different, larger, more dangerous. He watches as the new inmate is escorted through the block, flanked by guards. Eyes follow him. Whispers ripple like a wave. and tension tightens around every corner. The first confrontation happens almost immediately. A few inmates approach the newcomer, testing him, trying to assert dominance. The air crackles with menace. Jamal watches from a distance, heart hammering, realizing that this new arrival could tip the balance of power inside the block. Then the violence erupts. Fists fly, chairs crash, and guards rush in, but the newcomer isn't just fighting, he's orchestrating it. Jamal realizes that this isn't random chaos. This is strategy. Inside Rikers, someone is now playing a different game, and everyone else is just a pawn. Jamal's allies pull him back, but he can't stop watching. He sees older inmates thrown to the ground, weaker ones cornered, and a few guards struggling to regain control. In minutes, the block is a storm of confusion and fear. By the end of the day, Jamal is exhausted, bruised, and mentally drained. The new inmate has sent a clear message. Nothing in Rikers is predictable anymore. Every corner holds danger. Every shadow could hide an enemy. Jamal realizes that surviving isn't just about avoiding fights or making allies. It's about understanding the rules of this new game, predicting the moves of someone far more dangerous than he's ever faced. And then Jamal hears the whispers that chill him more than any fight ever could. The newcomer has connections outside, powerful ones. This isn't just a street-level threat. This could change everything on Rikers Island, and Jamal is right in the middle of it. For the first time, he understands that life inside the jail is no longer just about survival. It's about navigating a war he never signed up for, where one mistake could cost him everything. And as night falls again, the block holds its breath. Jamal knows that the next confrontation could be his last. Night falls again on Rikers Island, but it's quieter than usual, a tense, dangerous quiet. Jamal feels it in his chest. Something big is about to happen. The new inmate isn't just a rumor anymore. He's real, and he's coming for anyone who stands in his way. Jamal's allies warn him to stay low, but the newcomer has eyes everywhere. A fight breaks out in the corner of the block. Jamal watches as chaos spreads like wildfire. It isn't random. It's controlled, deliberate. The newcomer is testing everyone, forcing them to react, to make mistakes. Then, Jamal is forced into a direct confrontation. One of the newcomer's men corners him in the hallway, blocking every exit. Fear hits him like a punch to the chest. He remembers every lesson from the past weeks, the fights, the alliances, the whispers of corruption and danger. But Jamal can't run. He's trapped. Every choice he makes could mean survival or disaster. He fights back, not with anger, but with strategy. He uses the hallway, the walls, even the other inmates to his advantage. The fight is brutal, but in the chaos, Jamal begins to realize something crucial. Survival in Rikers isn't about strength alone. It's about reading people, predicting moves, and staying one step ahead. By the time guards arrive to break up the fight, Jamal has survived barely. His clothes are torn, bruises line his face and arms, but he's alive. More importantly, he's earned respect from his allies, from the inmates watching, and even from the newcomer. But this victory is fleeting. Jamal knows that surviving one night doesn't mean safety tomorrow. The newcomer has made his presence known. He has power, influence, and patience. And Jamal is now on the radar. As Jamal sits in his cell, exhausted and bleeding, he stares at the walls around him. He realizes that Rikers Island is more than a jail. It's a battlefield. And every day is a fight for survival, not just against inmates, but against the system itself. And then, as the lights flicker, a new threat arrives. One that isn't a fight, a gang, or an inmate. This one comes from inside the system itself, and it could change everything for Jamal. Jamal thought he had learned the rules of Rikers, that surviving meant watching the inmates, avoiding fights, and picking allies carefully. But he's about to discover the most dangerous forces aren't always the ones behind bars. Whispers start spreading. Some guards are turning a blind eye, letting fights escalate, and even helping certain inmates for favors or protection. Corruption runs deep. The system that's supposed to keep order is failing, and the consequences fall on inmates like Jamal. One night, Jamal notices unusual activity during lockdown. Certain cells are being overlooked. Contraband moves freely. Fights are encouraged instead of stopped. And then it hits him. The new threat isn't just the outsider inmate anymore. It's the guards themselves. Some want control, some want chaos, and some want to see who survives and who breaks. Jamal is caught in the middle. He has to navigate not just dangerous inmates, but a system designed to exploit fear and power. Every step he takes is watched. Every choice could be reported. Every wrong move could send him straight to solitary confinement, or worse. Then comes the breaking point. Jamal is targeted by a guard he trusted, forced to choose between following orders that go against his survival instincts or defying them and risking punishment. It's a moral test as much as a physical one. He realizes that surviving in Rikers doesn't just mean avoiding fights. It means learning who to trust, when to move, and when to stay completely invisible. By now, Jamal understands that the jail's walls don't just contain inmates. They trap fear, corruption, and desperation. He's caught between dangerous inmates, the newcomer with outside connections, and guards who bend the rules to suit their power. And just when he thinks he's figured out a way to stay alive, he hears the whispers. A large-scale lockdown is coming. Entire units will be swept. Alliances will be tested. And in the chaos, Jamal will have to make a decision that could determine not just his life, but his future in Rikers. The tension coils tighter than ever. Jamal knows one thing. The real battle is just beginning. The announcement echoes through the block. A full lockdown is in effect. Cells are sealed, movement is restricted, and tension spikes instantly. Guards patrol with more authority, their eyes sharper, their patience thinner. Jamal feels the weight of the entire block pressing in on him. Chaos doesn't wait. Inmates trapped together in tight quarters begin to clash over space, respect, and old grudges. A small argument escalates into a brawl within minutes. Chairs are thrown. Fists fly. Shouts echo off the concrete walls. Jamal's heart races. He knows he can't fight everyone, but he can't run either. He ducks behind a bunk, trying to stay invisible, but he sees a familiar face cornered, one of the younger inmates he had helped before. His instincts kick in. Jamal intervenes, pulling the boy away just as a guard arrives to break up the fight. But the lockdown isn't just about keeping inmates contained. It's about control, and some guards use the chaos as a weapon. Jamal witnesses incidents that make him realize just how fragile the rules really are. Favoritism, corruption, and power plays are everywhere, and anyone in the wrong place at the wrong time could pay the price. The newcomer, the inmate with outside connections, uses the lockdown to his advantage. He moves strategically, forcing others into conflict, creating distractions, and consolidating power. Jamal watches, terrified, as even seasoned inmates fall into his traps. By midnight, Jamal is exhausted, bruised, and mentally drained. He's learned to survive the street-level fights, but the lockdown has exposed a new kind of danger, a system where every move is watched, every choice matters, and no one is truly safe. And then the final twist of the night hits. A guard disappears from the block without explanation. Panic spreads. Inmates speculate, rumors fly, and fear takes control. Jamal realizes that the lockdown is far from over, and the night is far from safe. He knows that the real battle is just beginning. And tomorrow, everything inside Rikers Island could change forever. The lockdown stretches into the early hours of the morning. Jamal's body aches, his bruises throb, and his mind races with everything he's witnessed. Fights, strategic moves by the newcomer, and the ever-present shadow of corrupt guards. Then it happens. One of the older inmates Jamal trusted turns on him. A whispered conversation, a subtle glance, and suddenly Jamal realizes he's been set up. The very ally who had pulled him through previous fights now signals the newcomer's men. Cornered in a hallway with no way out, Jamal's instincts take over. He moves quickly, dodging attacks and using the narrow corridors to his advantage. Every second feels like a lifetime. One wrong step, one missed swing, and he could be sent to solitary, or worse. The newcomer watches from a distance, calculating, calm. It's a chilling reminder. In Rikers, fear and strategy are just as lethal as fists and weapons. Jamal knows he has to survive the night, not just the fights. Amid the chaos, Jamal spots a chance, a small gap where he could slip away, unseen. He hesitates. Trusting his instincts, he makes the move. He dodges a swing, ducks behind a pillar, and slips past the men chasing him. For a moment, he feels a rush of relief. But the danger isn't over. The newcomer is still in play, the corrupt guards are still watching, and the block itself has become a trap. Every corner, every shadow, could hold another threat. By dawn, Jamal is exhausted, battered, and shaken. He survived the night, but he knows the rules inside Rikers have changed. Alliances can turn on you, guards can manipulate you, and the inmates with outside connections can strike when you least expect it. As he sits in his cell, staring at the cold walls, Jamal realizes something terrifying. Surviving inside Rikers Island isn't about one night or one fight. It's about enduring a system designed to break you, testing your courage, your intelligence, and your will to survive day after day. And as the morning light creeps into the block, Jamal knows that the real challenges are only just beginning. Something bigger is coming, a test that will push him to the edge of everything he thought he could handle. The day drags on, but Jamal knows the night will bring the real danger. The newcomer with outside connections is gaining power fast, and the block is tense with anticipation. Even the guards are uneasy. They know that controlling this level of chaos is nearly impossible. As night falls, the block descends into a storm of violence and strategy. Fights erupt in multiple corners, some started by old grudges, some orchestrated by the newcomer to test loyalty and provoke fear. Jamal is caught in the middle, dodging attacks while keeping an eye on the people around him. Then it happens. The newcomer personally confronts him. He's calm, deliberate, and powerful, and the air is electric with tension. Jamal knows that one mistake here could be fatal. This isn't just about survival anymore. It's about proving himself in a world where the strongest don't always win, but the smartest do. Jamal fights, not just with strength, but with strategy. He uses the narrow hallways, his knowledge of the block, and quick thinking to stay alive. Every swing, every movement is calculated. Every step is a test of instinct and courage. Amid the chaos, alliances are tested. Some inmates Jamal thought he could trust betray him, seeking favor with the newcomer. Some guards exploit the disorder, tipping the balance towards certain inmates. And yet, Jamal manages to survive, barely, proving that he can navigate the most dangerous moments of Rikers. But just when he thinks he's safe, a louder, more terrifying threat emerges. A full-scale emergency lockdown. Alarms blare. Metal gates slam shut. Guards shout orders that no one can keep up with. Inmates are trapped, and the newcomer uses this chaos to consolidate power even further. Jamal realizes that this is the ultimate test. Not a single fight, not a single betrayal, but surviving a system that's designed to crush anyone who isn't ruthless, smart, and alert at all times. One wrong move, and the consequences could be permanent. By the end of the night, Jamal survives, but he is forever changed. The fights, the betrayals, the corruption, the constant threat, it's all left its mark. He's learned that inside Rikers Island, survival isn't just about strength. It's about understanding the rules, reading people, and staying one step ahead of everyone else. And as the first light of morning hits the block, Jamal knows that his journey inside America's most notorious jail is far from over. The battles, the threats, and the dangerous alliances will continue, and he'll have to be ready for whatever comes next. Weeks pass, but life inside Rikers doesn't slow down. Jamal has survived fights, betrayals, and lockdowns, but the real challenge now is endurance. It's no longer just about reacting to danger, it's about playing the long game. Overcrowding and understaffing make daily life exhausting. Meals are small and often stolen, beds are cramped, and basic hygiene is a constant struggle. The weight of constant fear and uncertainty begins to press on Jamal's mind. Every day, he sees the same patterns: fights erupting over nothing, alliances shifting like sand, and guards who bend the rules for their own gain. Jamal learns that survival also means protecting his mental strength. He starts observing patterns, memorizing routines, and understanding who holds influence on the block. He notices which guards are fair, which are corrupt, and which inmates can be counted on in a fight or in a crisis. Knowledge, he realizes, can be more powerful than brute force. But life on Rikers is unpredictable. Just as Jamal starts to feel he's navigating the system successfully, a new threat emerges: a riot in another unit. Screams echo through the halls, alarms blare, and guards rush to contain it. The chaos spreads, threatening to engulf Jamal's block. He's forced to make choices that could put him at risk, whether to help a fellow inmate in danger, maintain his own safety, or find a way to stay invisible while chaos reigns. Every decision carries weight. One misstep could send him back to solitary, or worse. In the middle of the night, Jamal reflects on how far he's come. He's no longer the terrified 19-year-old who first stepped onto Rikers Island. He's learned to read people, anticipate threats, and protect himself. But he also knows the harsh truth. Survival here isn't permanent. The block, the gangs, the corrupt system, none of it stays predictable for long. And then Jamal hears it. Whispers that the outside world is planning changes for Rikers. Talks of reform, closures, and investigations are spreading among inmates, and even some staff. Some see it as hope. Others see it as another kind of threat. For Jamal, it raises the ultimate question. Can survival inside Rikers ever truly lead to freedom, or is the system designed to break everyone who enters? The answers are unclear, but Jamal knows one thing for certain. He can't stop fighting, can't stop thinking, and can't stop surviving. Because in Rikers Island, every day is a battle, and the next one could be the hardest yet. The rumors are everywhere. Investigations, reform talks, even plans to close parts of Rikers Island. For the first time, Jamal senses that the world outside the fences is paying attention. But in a place built on chaos, even whispers of change can bring danger. Some inmates see the news as hope, others as a threat. The newcomer with outside connections grows restless, sensing that his control over the block could be challenged. He starts tightening his grip, punishing those he suspects of listening to reform rumors, and testing Jamal in ways he hadn't before. Jamal realizes that survival now requires more than reading people or anticipating fights. He must navigate politics, both inside the jail and outside, while keeping himself alive. One wrong word, one misstep, could put him in solitary, or worse, directly in the path of the newcomer's wrath. Tension in the block escalates. Allies who were dependable begin showing cracks under pressure. Inmates whisper about hidden agendas, and guards who once seemed indifferent now exploit the unrest for their own advantage. Jamal knows that in a place like Rikers, any shift in power can spark violence instantly. That night, a fight breaks out, seemingly small but perfectly timed to serve the newcomer's purpose, to test loyalty and sow fear. Jamal finds himself in the middle, forced to act. His choices, protect an ally, stay invisible, or confront the threat, will determine not just his safety tonight, but his survival in the coming weeks. As the chaos settles, Jamal reflects on how far he's come. He's learned to read the block, anticipate threats, and survive what most would consider impossible. But he also knows the truth. No one inside Rikers is truly free. Every day is a calculation, and survival is never guaranteed. And just as he begins to catch his breath, a new, unexpected force arrives, someone from the outside with real authority over the jail. Their presence promises change, but it could also bring new dangers. For Jamal, it's a reminder. In Rikers Island, the rules are never permanent, and the next turn could be the one that changes everything. The first signs of outside oversight ripple through the block. Investigators and reform officials have started visiting, asking questions, observing the guards and inmates. For some, it's a sign of hope. For others, it's a threat to their control. The newcomer senses it immediately. His grip on the block feels threatened, and he grows more aggressive. Alliances shift overnight. Inmates who once seemed loyal turn, trying to hedge their bets with the authorities. Jamal realizes that every move now carries even more weight. The wrong choice could attract both the newcomer's wrath and scrutiny from the outside. That night, a massive confrontation ignites. It starts as a simple argument over territory in the dorm, but tensions explode when the newcomer uses the confusion to eliminate rivals and test Jamal. Jamal finds himself caught in the center, forced to defend himself while avoiding the attention of both guards and rival inmates. He fights strategically, using what he's learned over weeks, the patterns of guards, the tendencies of inmates, and the weak points in the newcomer's tactics. The battle is brutal, chaotic, and terrifying, but Jamal survives. Afterward, the block is left reeling. Injuries, fear, and uncertainty ripple through the unit. Jamal realizes something critical. Rikers is not just a jail. It's a living, breathing system of power, fear, and manipulation. Every person, inmate or guard, is part of it, and the slightest shift can tip the balance. And then, the outside authority intervenes directly. The newcomer is confronted by officials during a surprise inspection. The block goes quiet. Inmates hold their breath. Jamal feels a mix of fear and relief. The rules are changing, but how will they change, and who will survive the fallout? Jamal knows one thing. The next days will determine everything. His alliances, his survival, and perhaps even his chance at freedom hinge on how he navigates this new reality. And deep down, he understands that the most dangerous battles are still ahead. Tension has reached a breaking point. The block is buzzing with fear, whispers, and anticipation. Jamal knows that tonight will define everything, not just his survival, but who controls the block and how the new reforms might change life inside Rikers. The newcomer has grown reckless. His power is challenged, both by the outside authority and by inmates like Jamal who refuse to be pushed around. He corners Jamal during a patrol, eyes cold and calculating. This is no longer just about fear or fights. It's a battle of wits, instinct, and survival. Jamal acts fast. He doesn't attack blindly. He maneuvers carefully, using the chaos of the block to his advantage. Allies he's earned over weeks position themselves strategically, helping him avoid traps and countering the newcomer's moves. Every step is calculated. Every choice is life or death. The confrontation escalates. Fists swing, shouts echo, and the walls of Rikers seem to close in. Guards arrive to intervene, some impartial, some influenced by the newcomer. Jamal has to keep his focus, balancing self-defense with the shifting loyalties around him. In the end, it's not sheer strength that defines survival. It's strategy, courage, and the ability to stay calm when every instinct screams to panic. Jamal outmaneuvers the newcomer, neutralizing the immediate threat while avoiding serious injury. The newcomer is confronted by the officials, finally losing his grip on the block. For the first time, Jamal takes a breath. The block is quiet, the threat contained, at least for now. He has survived the most dangerous moments of his life so far inside Rikers. But survival inside Rikers is never permanent. Jamal knows the system is still broken, violence still lingers, and the jail will continue testing everyone who enters its walls. What he's learned about people, power, fear, and resilience will guide him through whatever comes next. And as he sits on his bunk, bruised but alive, Jamal reflects on the harsh truth. Inside Rikers Island, freedom is more than leaving the jail. It's about navigating a world designed to break you and finding strength to endure day after day. The story doesn't end here. Inside Rikers, every moment is a test, every day a challenge. And for Jamal, the fight continues. Jamal survived, but Rikers Island doesn't stop. Violence, corruption, and chaos never sleep. And neither does the story of the people trapped inside. If you thought this was intense, just wait. The next chapter of life behind bars is even more shocking. Smash that like button if your heart was racing. Subscribe to follow Jamal's journey in the darkest corners of America's most notorious jail, and comment below. Could you survive a day on Rikers Island? And remember, in a place like Rikers, the walls see everything, and every decision could change your life forever. Stay tuned, because the Real story isn't over.